Rev up your engines! Well, it's official. Ford has started the production of their F-150 Lightning electric trucks. They're actually producing them, and they say in a few days they'll start delivering them. They say by 2023 they're going to make 150,000 of these every year. They originally said like 40, 50,000. Now they're scaling it up, but that's 2023. That's next year. Ford's betting a lot on this electric pickup truck. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? They're saying that a bunch of the reservations are people who never even bought pickup trucks. They're more into electric stuff, so they're going to buy an electric pickup truck. In the short run, I can see it, because when something first comes out, people go gaga, and you could probably buy one at one price and then sell it for $20,000 more. And there's people out there that are obviously thinking, I'll just buy one and then I'll sell it and make money on it, right? And even Ford had some ideas with their past that they're going to say, well, you can't sell it within a certain amount of time for more money because that undercuts their position. But I mean, I don't know the legality of you buying a vehicle and then they're saying you can't resell it. That doesn't make much sense either. Now they say it's going to have a 320-mile range. We'll see how that goes. And of course, that would be with everything empty, not towing anything, because I've seen people with electric vehicles tow stuff and they can lose over 50% of their range. And what do you do with big pickup trucks? You tow stuff and you carry stuff in the back. So we'll see what happens when they come out. I hope one of you guys out there buys these and brings it to me either in Rhode Island or Clarksville, and I'll try it out. And you can tell me, what mileage do you actually get? How much can you tow? How does it ruin the battery life when you're towing? Are you having problems? I can't wait till I get my hands on one. But I know Ford isn't going to give me one, because for months now, challenge the electric car makers. Give me an electric car, right? And the closest I got was a Chinese company that says, when we start selling our little ones in the United States, we'll give you one to try out. Great. Well, they're not here yet. I kind of figured that'd be the first one, because they're going from scratch. They want to build up a name, so they would take a chance and let me honestly test it out to show people what's out there. Where companies like Ford, they're betting their future on this truck, and they're afraid of a guy like me who might say bad things, and their future goes down the toilet, right? I know they'll never send me one. When you people out there buy one of these things, hey, bring it to me. Tell me the truth about it. I had no vested interest except telling people the truth. Maybe it'll be the best thing since the Model T car. Who knows? Maybe it'll be another Ford Edsel. We don't know, one way or the other. They're actually making them now, and soon people will start getting them. So if somebody does, please bring me one. And of course, Ford, if you want to give me one to try out, I mean, I'm not living in a fantasy world. I know you're dynamic. You're not going to trust me with something like that. I can see that right now. Well, looks like Putin's striking back. He just turned the gas off to Poland and Bulgaria because they won't pay for the gas in ruble. The ruble was doing a free fall, right, and it's coming back. Well, he wants to keep it as a viable currency, so he's forcing the countries in Europe to pay for the gas and oil using rubles instead of their currency to prop up his ruble currency, right? And of course, as everything else, there's giant scams involved. Like Slovakia and Hungary, they got a workaround deal. They're not paying them with rubles directly, but those countries are paying, and some others, into a euro bank with euros. And then the bank turns the account into rubles and pays the Russians. You know, all this stuff is such a scam. Anybody that believes in some mamby-pamby, bleeding heart liberal sense that any of this stuff is real and they stop selling stuff and they stop buying stuff, like when they try to stop various shipments, arms, whatever, technology, then the companies just sell it to Switzerland or whatever, then they sell it to another country, then it ends to the country that's banned. And just like they said, the price of our gas went up because of this. Oh, well, the Russian oil, people aren't going to buy it anymore, blah, 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 blah. They're still buying it. Poland didn't say we're not buying it. They were buying the gas. They just didn't want to pay in rubles, so now they're shutting them off. And of course, the hilarious thing is, I guess what Putin doesn't understand, he's involved in a worldwide economy, right? I'm sure they got all kinds of contracts with these countries to buy the gas and oil. And if he stops selling it to them, they're breaking contracts. They're breaking contract law. And if the guy's not going to have contract law, guess what? Nobody's going to deal with the clown. You sign a contract, you don't stand behind it, you know? Just like in World War II, where the Germans and the Russians had a non-aggression pact, and then soon after, the Germans invaded Russia. So I guess it's fair play now. He's going the opposite way. His contracts don't mean anything. Randy Ramirez, does starting your car in second gear in drive cycles help with gas mileage? I have 111,000 miles on an '09 2.4 liter Honda Accord with an automatic transmission. It would to a tiny amount. It wouldn't make all that much difference. Now, the first company that really made a car to deliberately do that was Volvo. Ice or snow button that you'd push on a transmission, which would make it start out in second gear. Well, if you're in second gear, you have less torque. So the engine won't spin the wheels as easily in ice or snow. So if you're driving in ice or snow, not a bad idea. Now, of course, you're going to lose acceleration. So it won't take off as fast, won't accelerate as well. It's not going to hurt anything, but the gas mileage that you can get better is such a tiny amount. You're really not going to notice much difference. Because really, you don't spend that much time in first gear anyways. You're in higher gears. It wouldn't make all that much difference. But if it's snowing or, the road's got ice and stuff on it, yeah, it'd be a better idea. You wouldn't spin as much. Is it possible to get higher gas mileage than the Radians they are? My car's rated for 22 city, 31 highway. I get about 32 combined. Probably 80% highway mileage. Yes, you can get better if you're a real conservative driver. You keep your tires aired up, change the oil all the time. My son has a 2020 Toyota Corolla, and he gets better gas mileage than what it's rated at. And he's not even a conservative driver. He drives pretty fast. So it is possible. They're just ratings, as ratings go. Normally, though, they rate them high and are much lower, but you got a pretty good car. You got a two-wheel drive, four-cylinder Honda, well-made vehicle, and yeah, I've had people do that all the time if they're conservative drivers. KNS has an interesting thing to say. Hey, everybody, I just commented on Scotty's last video about fuel cost. I work in the oil field as a crude oil driver, and one thing I know is the fuel you are buying now was purchased by fuel companies about 2 years ago. Yes, the truth comes out from a guy who works in the business, driving them, right? Sure, any excuse for them to raise the price, they bought that stuff 2 years ago. Oil wasn't that expensive then, right? Don't listen to the baloney that the company said, it costs more, now we got to charge more, blah, 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 blah. They're just going to screw everyone over as much as they can. That's just how it is. They figure they got a captive audience. Just like prices of electricity, wherever you live, you're pretty much a captive audience. They say, well, you have a choice of who you can provide. Come on now. The wires coming to your house are the same as everybody else's wires. They go from the same place. I always used to laugh at my neighbor in Houston who said, well, I buy the green energy. And I'm like, your electricity comes off the same pole as mine do, and it's made by the plant that's down the street that runs on fossil fuels. It's no different. Anybody that thinks they're running special wires to your house, no. And the same thing with the gas. It's been there for a while. Well, they just raise it because they can. Any excuse to make money. What are you going to do? Sue a big oil company? That's not going to happen. Jordan Dowdle says, what's your thoughts on a 2000 Camaro that has 275,000 miles? First thought would be, it was driven by a mature person, not a teenager. No way they'd get that kind of mileage. They'd wreck it. They'd blow the engine up, right? If you drive it conservatively and take care of it, they can last. Most people do not buy a Camaro and drive conservatively. One of the last Chevy sports cars left, and people buy them for speed. I'd like to know, maybe you can respond later, was it a V8 or was it a V6? Because if it was a V6, guys don't race them as much. I'm guessing it's probably a V6, and that's why it lasted so long, because it wasn't beaten like most people get those V8s, and they are fast, but man, they burn out fast too if you drive like a maniac. Mauricio says, Scotty, you're a mechanic. Why don't you have a tow truck? Because I'm a really good mechanic. I don't need one. When I fix them, they stay fixed. And they don't have to tow them back to me, right? Now, the thing is, towing, there's all kinds of liability. Today, people want to litigate everything. Hire the lawyer, sue. I wouldn't want to get involved in the business like towing cars. You wreck the car, something gets bent, they blame you, they sue you. The insurance rates for tow trucks are really high, and tow trucks cost a fortune. They get horrible gas mileage. Who knows what'll happen with your truck? I don't want to get involved in tow trucks. I've told my customers ages ago, I say, look, get it to me, I'll fix it, but I don't want anything to do with bringing it over to me. Because there's too much hassle and too many things that can go wrong. Plus, I like sleeping at night, not going in the middle of the night and picking somebody up. That's somebody else's job, not mine. Jaden Garlett says, Scotty, my AC fan turns on and off every 30 seconds while the AC is on. When the fan's on, the air's ice cold. What could be wrong with it? Honda Civic 2006. Your fan keeps turning on and off while you're driving. What I want to know is, I'm assuming you're talking about the fan inside your car, not the one under the hood. If it's the one under the hood, you got a problem with the AC system and it's cycling itself on and off and on and off and on and off. And as the compressor cycles on and off, it'll turn the fan on and off. Could be a restricted expansion valve, all kinds of things. Bad compressor. But if you're just talking about the inside fan that's blowing, odds are your fan motor's just burning out. Hondas make excellent systems, but yours is what? 16 years old. Things wear out. You probably just need a new blower motor. And while you're at it, it makes sense. When you replace the blower motor, you can do it yourself. Just unscrew, goes in. Also replace the blower motor resistor assembly, because they work together. You might as well change both of them. It's easy enough to do. So if it's the inside that's blowing in your face that stops, on those 99% of the time, it's just the fan motor wearing out. They spin, they have brushes inside to conduct the electricity. The brushes just wear from friction, and eventually they get so thin they don't work well anymore. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.